Hello, my name is Adam Spencer and welcome back to the Starting 5 video series. Video, that thing that we used to do before Twitter fleets, Instagram stories, TikTok, Snapchat, all that stuff. Today we're going to be talking about the Kentucky Wildcats, who I have as my number one team in the SEC heading into the 2020-2021 season. I really love this recruiting class, but first we need to talk about John Calipari, the Kentucky coach. He's done a great job of recruiting during his time at Kentucky. Nobody disputes that. But the thing is, there's a case to be made that he should have won more during his time at Kentucky. He only has one title, and that was won in 2012 with a guy named Anthony Davis, who you might remember from seeing him lead the Lakers along with LeBron James to the NBA title in this bubble season. So yeah, Anthony Davis, when you have him on your team, you're gonna do just fine and you're gonna win some ball games. I think that me and 3 of my friends could have played alongside Anthony Davis and still won the title that year. That might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but that's only because my friends really suck at basketball. My friend Michael did make a 4-point shot once, but that's a story for a different day. This year, Kentucky brings in the nation's number 1 recruiting class led by BJ Boston, Terrence Clark, Isaiah Jackson, Devin Askew, and more. These guys are great. That's a great class, and this goes to show just how good Calipari's recruiting has been. He's had 5 better recruiting classes since 2011. In 2012, he had a better class. In 2014, 2016, 2017, and then the 2018 class that featured Tyler Hero, Ashton Hagans, and a guy named Emmanuel Quickley, who you might remember just was the SEC Co-Player of the Year last year. Calipari's no stranger to bringing in these talented groups of freshmen, but this year is different. I love the way that he's recruited big, versatile wings. That's where the game is going, and BJ Boston and Terrence Clark, I'm telling you, these guys are going to be like the Boston Celtics duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be just as good as those guys, so don't blow me up on Twitter or anything, but I really like these guys. They bring athleticism, they bring shooting ability, even though during Kentucky's recent pro day workout, Jimmy Dykes, the SEC Network commentator, he did say that BJ Boston needs to work a little bit on his footwork on his shots, but that's something that Calipari will sort out before the season gets too deep. Devin Askew, I think he needs to be the starting point guard from day one. They brought in a guy named Davion Mintz on the transfer market, but I would turn the keys over to Askew immediately and let him suffer the growing pains. That's part of the game. He needs to do that during non-conference play so he can get to a level where he can become a player like Devin Booker. He became what he is in the NBA much later than when he was at Kentucky, but if you give Askew the keys to the offense and let him grow, I think that's a plus. And Mintz can come off the bench and provide some scoring in the backcourt on the second unit, and I think that that's a great spot for him. So when you add the 5-star freshman, the big guy in Isaiah Jackson, who's going to be a contributor right away, the X factor here is the transfer market, and that's where Coach Calipari really did something we haven't really seen him do before. He's brought in big men. We remember Reed Travis 2 years ago. We remember Nate Sestina last year, but those guys didn't really have the impact that he was probably hoping for in the post. But this time they bring in Olivier Sarr, a big man from Wake Forest who I love. I think he's going to be in the running for SEC Player of the Year this year. He's that good, and he's going to really have more talent around him than he's ever had before, and that's going to be something that he can work with, and he's just going to be someone who can really learn from Calipari's tutelage and just learn what he needs to know for the NBA, but also win some games in the present. Another guy that they have in the post is Jacob Toppin. You might remember that Toppin last name, and that's because his brother, Obi Toppin, was just named National Player of the Year last year for his work at Dayton. Dayton would have been a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament if it hadn't been canceled, which we all miss, and hopefully we get a tournament this time around. Normally there are at least a couple of returning players to talk about. I know that Calipari's rosters turn over a lot and he relies a lot on freshmen who are one and dones, but normally there's at least a couple of players that are coming back. Last year we had Quickley coming back, Nick Richards was back, EJ Montgomery, Ashton Hagans, but this year, really, it's incredible. Keon Brooks is the only player returning to the roster that scored a single point last year. He scored 138 of Kentucky's 2,307 points. That's crazy. That's just over 5% of their total points from last year. And that's all that they have returning. So there's going to be a lot of new guys, a lot of new faces stepping up. But I really think that work that he did on the transfer market, bringing in Davion Mintz, bringing in Jacob Toppin, bringing in Olivier Sarr, that's going to be the X factor. They're going to have some experience. It's not just freshmen that he's relying on here. And it's not just just second-year players in his system that didn't become one-and-dones. It's going to be guys working, finding their roles, seeing how they fit together, and they're going to struggle a little bit in non-conference play. Don't be surprised if they lose a couple games. They have some tough matchups. They're playing Kansas, they're playing Louisville, they're playing other top quality opponents, so they're going to have some struggles at times. But I don't think that this is a team that's going to lose to Evansville or anything like that, like we saw last year. But then again, last year's team, we saw they won the SEC regular season title because they grew as a team and they were hitting their stride right as we were approaching the postseason. And the talent is there. There's no denying that the talent is there. But with all that talent, with that veteran experience, if Sarr develops into the leader that I think he can be, and if Davion Mintz really steps into a leadership role and Brooks improves from last year, this is a team that I think can not only compete for the SEC title and the SEC tournament title, which Calipari has won 12 of those. He's also made 4 Final Fours, including the year that he won the title. I think that this year, this Kentucky team has the potential to do that again with all this talent that he's got in the freshman class. BJ Boston, Terrence Clark, Devin Askew, Isaiah Jackson. Learn their names because they're going to be huge by the time the season's over. And that's why I have Kentucky winning the SEC title. All right, folks, that's it for today. We'll see you soon, okay? Thanks for stopping by.